1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
So much so that I had to ask around. I'm like, hey, I'm kind of a nice guy, right?
Hacker is an ass.
I try, as I'm getting into my old age at 39 years old, try not to let things bother me. Just know that I'm ultra soft.
And he doesn't shy away from opinions.
See Baker Mayfield throw 4 passes, but I get to see this homeless guy return a ball for a touchdown.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Tuesday night to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us, our late night show. Are you kidding me? Jacksonville, Florida. Let me ask you a question. Where else would you rather be from 10 o'clock to midnight on a Tuesday than right here with the Hacker and Dylan Denmark on Hacker After Dark? And we certainly appreciate you staying up late with us this evening. We got a little bit of everything tonight. We got high school ball. The high school spotlight comes up in the 11 o'clock hour. It is regional final week. Every team that's still playing in our area, and there are 7 of them still standing, they are playing on Friday night for the right to go to the state Final Four in their given classification. So we'll have 3 high school football coaches that are still alive. Also Justin Barney of Channel 4. We'll do a little Jaguar talk coming up in about 35 minutes. My friend Jamal St. Cyr, also of Channel 4, will stop by, and we're going to kick it off with a little college football. Brent Beard, you get him on First Coast News. You also hear him weekly right here on 1010XL. He's going to stop by in about 15 minutes or so, actually a little less than that. But that's where I want to begin. A little college football talk, a little Florida State talk. Every night on Hacker After Dark, we do give you a big deal of the night, and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
All right, it is a big deal. It's Saturday night. It's Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. It's the 5-6 Florida Gators hosting the 11-0 playoff bound if they continue to win Florida State Seminoles. I understand Florida State fell to 5 tonight in the rankings, and I threw that scenario at Ballou earlier just to see what he would say. I don't care if they have an injured starting quarterback or not. If an ACC team goes 13-0 in the regular season, to me, there's no way they miss the playoff. I understand they have a backup quarterback, but if Tate Rodemaker can beat Florida on the road and then beat a top 10 Louisville team in the ACC championship game, Florida State at 13-0 at that point, to me, would deserve a shot in the college football playoff. Now, they'd probably be the 4th seed, and truthfully, they might get boat raced by Georgia, but they would deserve a shot to be there. It's a shame, too, because with Jordan Travis, I think Florida State would have given Georgia everything they wanted. But that brings me to Saturday. The Swamp. How about Fowler and Herb Street on the call? ESPN, 7 o'clock. Big-time atmosphere, right? Big-time game. So I've been talking to my Gator buddies. 5 wins is bad because you're right on the cusp of a bowl game. I'm sure the Gator program understands the rivalry aspect of this, but they want to get to 6 wins to go to a bowl game, right? They want to get to 6 wins to have those extra bowl practices and to be able to participate in a bowl game. I think you, the Gator fan base, has one thing on your mind Saturday night, and that is completely ruining Florida State's season. Ruining it. Going back to 1997, right, when Florida ruined Florida State's season and ruined their chances of winning a national championship. Can they do it again? That Florida team was 8-2 going into that game. They were a little bit better than they were this year at 5-6. But it's a similar situation. Undefeated Florida State, everything in front of them, plays a wounded Gator team. The Gators basically have nothing to play for. A bowl game, sure. If you want to go to the Birmingham Bowl at 6-6, I guess that's something. But by and large, all you Gator fans that I've talked to, one thing on your mind. Let's ruin Florida State's season. Backup quarterback Tate Rodemaker versus backup quarterback Max Brown in a game on Saturday night that could salvage the Gator season if they win and ruin the Florida State season at the same time. I'll give you my official prediction tomorrow. I'm going back and forth. I'm leaning Florida State, but I do think it is very interesting. You would think a 5-6 team hosting an 11-0 team, there would not be a lot of intrigue, right? There would not be a suspense, a lot of buildup surrounding this game. Not in this situation. The two backup quarterbacks, Florida State eyeing the college football playoff, their hated arch rival in Gainesville, just getting kicked all over the place the last month of the year. The only thing they have left is to try to ruin the Seminoles season. And it would ruin it. Believe me. 11-0 and you lose to Florida to cost you a shot at the playoff, that would ruin Florida State's season. So a little intrigue, a little suspense, a little build-up for Saturday night. I like it. I like it a lot. It's the way it should be when Florida and Florida State get together. Let's talk a little college ball. Let's look at rivalry week. We'll obviously spend a lot of time on the Gators and the Noles, but I want to talk about clean old-fashioned hate in the state of Georgia, the Iron Bowl in the state of Alabama. You got the Apple Cup in Washington. I'm going to refer to it as the Civil War. I don't care if you're calling that or not anymore. It is the Civil War between Oregon and Oregon State. And, of course, there is a pretty big game in Ann Arbor, Michigan this weekend as well between the Buckeyes and the Wolverines. It is the best Saturday of the year in college football. Let's talk about it with my friend Brent Beard. You see him on First Coast News. You always get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. It is a Tuesday night, our late night show in Jacksonville. As always, we are glad you are with us.
It's an epic adventure.
I don't believe you.
Would you believe 24 Delta Force commandos?
No.
Go behind enemy lines with Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline.
How about Chuck Norris with a BB gun?
Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's finally here. Beaver's annual Black Friday silent sale. Every car on the lot will be discounted so low, we can't even show the prices on TV. Doors open at 6 a.m. Friday. First come, first served. And once they're gone, it's over. Plus, anyone who buys between 6 and 9 a.m. will get a big screen TV and $1,000 cash. Want more? We're giving away free oil changes between 6 and 9 a.m. The Black Friday silent sale only at Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet. You don't want to miss this.
Whether you are looking for a job or an employer trying to hire, there's only one stop in Jacksonville, Remedy Staffing. Labor trends keep us guessing. As employers, the job market has been strong. So what does that mean for workers' availability? If you're interested in the workforce solutions or how the Remedy team can help you, call or text Crystal at 904-329-9802. 329-9802, Remedy Staffing.
It's Thanksgiving week, and Monahan Jewelers has the best deals in town with up to 40% off the entire store. Thousands of beautiful pieces are on sale with fantastic prices on our entire inventory, including up to 30% off on GIA certified diamonds. We're your local family jeweler, so come visit us today and on Small Business Saturday for up to 40% off on diamond studs, engagement rings, colored gemstones, our designer brands, custom design, everything. The name you can trust in fine jewelry, Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Denny Thompson here. This holiday season, tackle burglars and protect your turf. Give the gift of peace of mind. Catch everything around your home with Tyson Sound & Security's cutting-edge surveillance cameras. Whether you're traveling for the holidays or just cheering on your team, earn a big score on safety and convenience. Tyson has you covered for all home cameras and security systems. Call Tyson Sound & Security right now for the holiday season at 904-762-1000. That's 904-762-1000. Tyson Sound & Security. Security and automation experts.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Hi Jags fans, Walker Little here for my friends at Kingfish Pest Control. Playing offensive line in the NFL, I must block and protect on every down. When it comes to keeping my home pest-free, I expect that same level of protection. So I contacted Kingfish after seeing thousands of positive online customer reviews about their service. I can confirm from personal experience, bugs don't stand a chance getting past Kingfish Pest Control. Do what I did. Reach out to Kingfish Pest Control to protect your home, a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Are you about ready to deck the halls for the holidays, but your home is cluttered with unwanted junk? Don't let the mess dampen your holiday spirit. Call J-Dog Junk Removal. And it's not just about cleaning up your space, it's about making a positive impact. You deserve a clutter-free home to celebrate in style. They're on a mission to make your holidays brighter and your home junk-free. Call now at 844-GET-JDOG or enter your zip code at jdog.com. J-Dog Junk Removal. Veteran-owned, veteran-operated.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you be active, reach weight loss goals, and find your inner strength while you connect with your community. Family memberships at the Y include unlimited group exercise classes, childcare while you work out, and youth sports participation. It's easy to join the Y and affordable for all. Plus, the Y is a great place to meet a new circle of friends. Visit the Y near you or online at fcymca.org.
John, I'm so glad I called Clearwater to get my sprinklers, yard drainage, and seamless gutters in tip-top shape.
Thanks, Frank. It's great to see you so relaxed here at the house, away from the microphone.
Yeah, John, just hanging.
All right, well, let me go ahead and turn the sprinklers on and show you how everything works.
Wow, look at that coverage. How good is that?
All right, Frank, let's go!
Clearwater Irrigation
and Drainage to
ClearwaterJacks.com. 1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. It is a Tuesday evening, and we are glad you are with us. Thanksgiving week has arrived. That means rivalry week in the world of college football. Rivalries all over the place, good old-fashioned bragging rights, and in some, college football playoff spots are on the line. With that, let me welcome in my friend Brent Beard. You see him every week on First Coast News. You also get him right here on Hacker After Dark. Mr. Beard, how are you, my friend?
Happy Thanksgiving, first of all, to you and the family and our listeners and viewers. It is going to be a wonderful week where we've got a cold front that's actually coming through, and we're going to have some real fall-like weather and football weather, so that'll be a lot of fun. and I'll be brief on this, but I'm going to kind of weave this theme throughout today. Is if we're a year from now this may happen, it may not happen, but we've seen that this be suggested in the media that there's a possibility that this week, think about this now, this week instead of being rivalry week will be championship week with the conferences. In other words, a year from now, we may have the SEC championship game, an ACC championship game coming up this Saturday, and the rivalry games the week like last weekend, if we're a year from now. So again, I won't belabor the point, but to think about how different our life would be, and think about how different Thanksgiving would be if that actually happens.
Yeah, that would be weird. All I know, and I'm 40 years old, all I know is Florida State the Saturday, or I guess
That's
occasionally the Friday night after
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. That would be very weird. But again, the 12-team playoff beginning next week, or next year rather, there's going to be a lot of games next year that they're going to have to move up the schedule, it appears. All right, so last Saturday, I'm watching Florida State, North Alabama. I don't know why I was, Brent. I just happened to flip it over and saw the Noles, and I was there maybe 2 minutes before the Jordan Travis injury. I love college football. I love the game of football. I'm very, privileged and honored to be able to talk football every day. One of the down spots of football is a situation like last Saturday at Doak Campbell Stadium. I just felt awful, Brent, for Jordan Travis. Having been able to talk to him over the years numerous times, everything he had gone through from the time he arrived in Tallahassee to now, everything right in front of him from a championship run perspective, and to have an injury like that just was an awful, awful situation.
Tremendous player. I mean, if he's healthy through the rest of the season, he may very well have been in New York as far as one of the Heisman candidates. So now it's up to Tate Rodemaker, who actually played pretty well against UNA. What we don't know is how's he going to play against a better football team in Florida and then in Louisville. Now Brock Glenn is his backup. If you stop some cars today on 95 and ask them who Brock Glenn is, and very few people could tell you. So that really makes this even more interesting, is how will the Noles do without their leader in two incredibly important games coming up for them.
You get Brent Beard on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, we got to go quick because there's a lot we got to get to. But quickly on Jordan Travis. I don't know if I can ever remember a young man, whether it's at Florida State or really wherever, that looked a certain way on the field when he arrived and looked 180 degrees different when he departs. Jordan Travis, sometimes people wondered if he could functionally throw a ball down the field 4 and 5 years ago. And now he leaves, and I was talking to Ira Schofel of WarChant.com yesterday. After the 3 Heisman winners, Winky, Winston, Ward, whatever order you want to put them in, Brent, there's a real argument that Jordan Travis might be in that conversation for number 4 as the most important quarterback in FSU history.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And look, anytime you're responsible basically for getting your team into the playoffs or on the verge of it, you deserve to have that kind of a reputation. So I think the thing for him is he could have left, could have gone somewhere else, he could have given up. That's perseverance. Carson Beck at Georgia is similar in that vein. So do the rest of his teammates, or does this galvanize them? Do they circle the wagons, and will they be ready to go? And look, here's another thing about the playoffs. If we were next year, instead of Florida having to beat Florida State having to beat Florida in the playoffs, they probably would be already in. So to think about what that would do in thinking about this rivalry. But, yeah, this is one of those situations, Hank, everyone has to step up because they know that Jordan Travis is not there.
You know, and in the ultimate ironic situation, it wasn't 2 hours after Jordan Travis was carted off the field that Graham Mertz's arm was in a sling with a broken collarbone, and now all of a sudden it's going to be Max Brown for the Gators and Tate Rodemaker for Florida State. Quickly to Florida, Mertz, I hope he comes back next year, Brent. His season's obviously over this year. Boy, he surpassed expectations, man. There was a certain thought about Graham Mertz from Gator Nation, and I think he not only surpassed that, but surpassed that in a very big way.
He was the number one question going into the offseason. He answered that. Certainly started throwing the ball down the field vertically, did a really good job. So the biggest question was cleared up as the season went on. The second biggest question that the Gator defense started off doing pretty solidly, and then unfortunately because of injuries and so forth, really got worse as the season went on. But again, when you think about this whole year, that Florida still, if they get a field goal against Arkansas and they stop 4th and 17, amazingly, Hank, this team's 7-4 right now.
They are. There's no question about it. And they've been in a lot of games, certainly. All right, so let's look at this from both sides. Let's get back to Florida State and Tate Rodemaker. Brent Beard, can Tate Rodemaker and that very impressive defense, a very nice supporting cast on offense, they're 11-0 for a reason. It wasn't just entirely Jordan Travis. Can Rodemaker lead the Noles to wins over Florida and Louisville next week and get them in the playoff?
Well, in taking it one at a time, can he get the ball to the playmakers, particularly his receivers and Keon Coleman, and also at running back, can he get the ball to Benson? That's going to be the difference, I think, in this game. The other thing that's going to make a difference, Versk and Fisk and Farmer and Payton, the defensive line from the Noles, have started every game this season, and I would not hesitate to say that is one of the reasons they have had the success that they've had at this point. Look, this is going to be a very difficult game for FSU. Florida is going to be very up. The fans are going to be, and frankly, they have played fairly well. They just have not been able to close the deal. We know all the weaknesses at this point, but Hack, could you see this thing going to the fourth quarter and the game being in doubt, similarly to what it was against Arkansas and also against last week in Missouri? So this game is important for Rodemaker because he's got an ACC championship on the line next week against a team that has one of the better offenses in the nation.
You know, it's interesting. Tate Rodemaker's got more experience than Max Brown. Who would have ever thought that he would be the more experienced quarterback? Here's my thought on the situation Saturday night from a Florida perspective. Florida State got the business from the schedule makers to put this game at 7 o'clock in the swamp at night.
Right.
I mean, Fowler and Herbstreit are calling the game on ESPN.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time they did that.
Really?
And I'm talking to my Gator buddies, Brent. These are pretty diehard fans, alumni, season ticket holders, and the such. Yeah, winning 6 games, go to a bowl game, extra practices, that's all nice and wonderful. Their entire goal in life is to ruin Florida State's season.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
that Gator fan base is going to be loud on Saturday night, despite the fact they're a 5-6 football team.
Yeah, I agree with that. And can they do something defensively to keep Florida State off the field? And the best way for that to be would be for them to have some long drives. Heck, I thought this season for Florida was summed up in the Missouri game when Florida gets into the red zone. They've got all the momentum that they could carry with them at that point, looking solid on offense, and then you have a missed handoff to I think it was Montrell Johnson. Missouri recovers. Florida right on the verge of, I won't say winning the game, but controlling and taking it over and having that snatched away from them. I thought that was a macrocosm of the season.
Does Florida's season get salvaged if they win on Saturday night?
It was certainly how you end the season makes a huge difference. I would say if they are able to beat FSU and they're able to win a bowl game, and you end the season with 2 wins and you've won 7, wouldn't that fan base feel much better in the offseason if that happened?
I think they would, and it's not just winning the games, it's ruining Florida State's season. Florida State, clearly the better team. One team has 11 wins, the other team has 5. I'm not breaking any news there, but if Florida were to keep Florida State out of the playoff, oh my goodness, the bragging rights they would have for the 365 days. All right, we'll get back to this game in a moment. Let's quickly look around the country. The contenders are all playing rivalry games. You know, good old-fashioned hate in the state of Georgia. I don't think Georgia Tech will have anything for the Dogs. The Iron Bowl, Auburn is terrible. I don't think they will have anything for Alabama. The interesting ones are outside the region. The Apple Cup, that's always weird, with Washington State, Washington. The Civil War is always weird with Oregon State, Oregon. And then obviously Ohio State, Michigan. A lot of pressure on Ryan Day to win that game. If he loses 3 in a row to the Wolverines, I would imagine people in Columbus, Brent, may start talking a little bit.
They might, but they've done so well except for that game. So he's got a little bit of equity built up, but this is a game they need to win. And look, they want to ruin Michigan's season too, is where they are with that. But it's going to be an incredibly important weekend with Texas Tech and Texas, and then Oregon State. Oregon is a Friday night game, which is interesting. Washington State and Washington. But listen, here's the great thing about rivalry games. You have a team, usually it's rare when you've got 2 really good teams like Ohio State and Michigan. Often, more so, you've got Florida and Florida State. But what the rivalry games do is it forces the underdog to focus maybe unlike they have focused in a month. So that is why, and I'm not saying the underdogs are going to win, but that is why these games are so much closer than they normally are, is because you've got a motivated underdog that is paying attention when they normally wouldn't be, maybe, at the end of the year, and that's what makes it exciting. I mean, your point with Alabama and Auburn, I mean, Auburn's got the same motivation that Florida does, and you know Auburn's not going to play poorly in that game for 2 weeks in a row. Look, there's no way they'll win, but I give Georgia Tech a lot of credit, and Brent Key. They won. They're in a bowl game, and oh, by the way, speaking of names with that, Haynes King, the Georgia Tech quarterback, coming from A&M, really did well in their win last week. So rivalry week is a wonderful weekend, isn't it?
It's a terrific weekend. I love every bit of it. It's the best weekend of the year. Final moments with Brent Beard. You see him on First Coast News. You get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, we'll do more of this next week, but play along with me here for a second. We got about 2 minutes left. Assuming Washington does not lose, all right, they're going to be in the playoff because Michigan and Ohio State play each other. So we're going to put Washington in. Assuming the winner of Michigan-Ohio State does not lose the Big Ten championship game, we're going to put them in. We'll say it's Michigan for argument's sake. So Washington's unbeaten, Michigan's unbeaten. They're both in. Here is my question. If Florida State wins out, okay, with Tate Rodemaker, and if Alabama were to somehow knock off Georgia, all right, what does the committee do at that point? Because you would have undefeated Washington, you would have undefeated Michigan, you would have 1-loss Ohio State, you would have 1-loss Alabama and 1-loss Georgia, but you would have undefeated Florida State with a backup quarterback. Will Jordan Travis's injury factor in at all, or if they go unbeaten, they're in the playoff?
Well, the committee has said that injuries do matter. So, and they are paying close attention to that. Now, history would tell you that the SEC champion would be in there. But we don't know what that means with this situation. And I would certainly hate to see Florida State being left out with if they're able to run the table. What a magical season that this has been for them. But heck, here's the reality. You don't know what a committee is going to do we? That's what's up to the air at this point. And again, if we're a year from now, you and I are not even having this conversation because pretty much everybody we mentioned is going to be in, right? So, but with this year, with only 4 teams, this committee may be faced with some questions that they have never had to face before, frankly.
Well, and again, I mean, Florida State, if they go undefeated in a Power 5, they should get in. But again, under our scenario, Washington's undefeated, Michigan's undefeated, they're in. You got one loss, Ohio State, they would probably be out. If Alabama beats Georgia and Alabama's the SEC champion, they're in. Do you put Florida State in over a one-loss, back-to-back defending national champion with a backup quarterback in Tate Rodemaker?
Yeah,
I cannot imagine that discussion that would be in the committee room.
Boy.
That would be chaos, no question about it. Brent, that'll be more conversation for us next week. Enjoy Rivalry Week. Have a happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, brother. I always appreciate you. And we'll talk again next week and review Rivalry Week and preview Championship Saturday.
Hey, heck, thanks much. Happy Thanksgiving to all, and we will look forward to what should be an incredible week next week.
Always enjoy talking college football with my friend Brent Beard. You see him weekly on First Coast News. You get him right here on Hacker After Dark. And that's the scenario, right? Wouldn't it be interesting if the last year of the 4-team playoff, we had the most chaos we've ever had? Normally it works itself out, and odds are it'll work itself out this year. But I think the most chaotic thing to happen, and I would be fascinated by it, Washington wins out, they're in. Michigan wins out, they're in. If Alabama beats Georgia, you got to put Alabama in, right? A one-loss SEC champion. So that's 3 spots that are taken with Alabama, Washington, and Michigan. And then it comes down to Florida State with a backup quarterback or a one-loss defending back-to-back national champion in the Georgia Bulldogs. That would be fascinating to see what would happen. I don't know. I would think Florida State should probably get in at 13-0. I said it earlier. But if it's them or Georgia in that scenario, there will be some conversations in that committee room, no question about it. More college football coming up tomorrow. Matt Hayes of XL Primetime scheduled to join us. We'll talk more Rivalry Week on a Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We have the high school spotlight coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. We'll talk to Corey Johns, the head coach of Bartram Trail. We'll talk to Kevin Mays, the head coach of Baker County. We'll talk to Brian Braddock, the head coach of St. Augustine. All 3 teams in regional final action on Friday night. 1 win away from the state Final Four. We'll also have Justin Barney of Channel 4 coming up in the high school spotlight. But coming up next, back into the world of the National Football League. Let's talk Jaguars and Titans. Let's preview Jaguars and Texans. My friend Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4, he joins me next. Our late show, Tuesday night, Hacker After Dark with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
He's not a defense attorney. He is the defensive player of the game.
Let's go get it, pick and score.
After the game, catch the superior fence and rail defensive player of the game.
Let's tighten that field and let's go.
On 1010XL.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes with a quick 2-week check-in on my Awaken 180 journey. And are you ready for this? I'm 16 pounds lighter. I've hit my first major milestone. I'm back to running, something I haven't done in more than a year. Now, do you have to run to lose weight with Awaken 180? Absolutely not. Exercise is great and encouraged, but if losing weight is your goal, it's about what you put in your mouth. That's where Awaken 180 steps in. Every week, my coach Kristen dives into my stats, not just body weight, but fat percentage, water weight, and other metrics, and adapts my plan accordingly. They're not guessing, everyone. This is real weight loss. Thanksgiving is here, and I already have a plan that will allow me to enjoy the feast and still see the pounds melt away. Look, Awaken 180 isn't just a diet, it's real. It's life. So if you're thinking about a change, think Awaken 180. Call them at 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com. Real life, real changes, real results.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Account subject to credit approval. Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank. NA member FDIC.
Let's fire up the flavor and ignite those appetites. Let's slow down and smell the barbecue. Because all your favorites are smoked for hours and ready for eating when you are. From our famous ribs to slow smoked pork. Enjoy some perfection by the plateful, safely in our dining room or in the comfort of your home. With curbside pickup, drive-through, and delivery. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Look, Thanksgiving is almost here. It's time to get that home repair project you've been putting off done before the family comes over. From the honey-do list to bathroom remodeling, get First Coast Home Pros to do it for you. FirstCoastHomePros.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On November 21st, 2016, the NFL returned to Mexico City for the first time since 2005 for the first Monday Night Football game outside of the U.S. with Raiders and Texans.
Lauren Brooks here. Tired of joint pain holding you back? Try BioTarget from Injury Care Centers. This treatment will prolong the life of your joints by targeting the root of your pain and delivering more regenerative cells to the affected area, ensuring faster and more effective healing, making BioTarget the most advanced regenerative treatment. For a limited time, BioTarget starts as low as $499. Call Injury Care Centers or visit GoBioTarget.com. That's GoBioTarget.com.
Are you an experienced automotive technician and tired of working for employers who put profit over people? Then come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road and get trained on how to diagnose and rebuild today's complex transmissions. See how we're different. Get traction on your career and come to Action.
Equal opportunity employer.
The biggest, baddest rock experience in the United States is here. Welcome to Rockville with Foo Fighters. It's times like these, Motley Crue. Slipknot. Disturbed. Jelly Roll. Limp Bizkit. Queens of the Stone Age, and Breaking Benjamin, Evanescence, Cypress Hill, Black Veil Brides, A Day to Remember, Anthrax, In This Moment, Primus, Stone Temple Pilots, Tech Nine, and Judas Priest, plus so many more. Welcome to Rockville. 4 days, 5 stages, and 150 bands. May 9th through the 12th at Daytona International Speedway. Passes and camping on sale now at welcometorockville.com.
Hacker here, and look, football season is in full swing, and no game day setup is complete without the Sausage Dude sausage. I'm a sausage guy, and the Sausage Dude sausage is the best sausage I've ever had. Try their 4 terrific flavors, including Polish, Hungarian, beer bratwurst with jalapeno, and my personal favorite, the Italian today, by picking them up at any Publix in the Jacksonville area. Football and sausage, it's a winning combination. Go get the Sausage Dude sausage at any Publix in the Jacksonville area right now.
You can't have exceptional water quality without a hefty price. With Kanaya Water Systems, a premium, high-quality water and filtration system that won't leave your wallet taking an L. Search KENAI Water Jacksonville.
Learn the secrets to bring your A game on the Edwin Watts Golf Hour.
Yeah, well, you really crushed that ball off the tee, I'll tell you what.
Learn the latest on new equipment from all the major manufacturers on the Edwin Watts Golf Hour. Saturday morning at 10 on 1010XL. 1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Boy, what a difference a week makes. Last week, the sky was falling here in Duval County. Now, after a beating over the Tennessee Titans, the 7-3 Jaguars have a huge matchup on Sunday against the Houston Texans. With that, let me welcome in Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Jamal, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, Jamal, always appreciate it. All right, I guess that just goes to show you what the NFL is, a week-to-week league, from whatever that was against the Niners to a dominating performance against the Titans, Jamal. It seems the Jaguars corrected a lot of wrongs from last week.
Look, they needed that kind of game, and I think Evan Ingram after the game said it best. He said, look, this team's just better when their back's against the wall. And up until now, that's held true. When this team has needed a win, they've made it happen. I remember a year ago when they were like 3-7 and people in the locker room started throwing around things like playoffs. And I remember leaving the stadium that day thinking, these guys are crazy. And then their back's against the wall and they run the table and get into the show. And, you know, here we are now after last week where against the 49ers, the sky was falling. It looked terrible. I mean, it was just their third loss of the year, but it was an ugly one. Backs against the wall, got to bounce back, especially with the Texans breathing down your neck, and they go out there and get it done in a big way.
Jamal, look, I want to talk about Trevor Lawrence in a moment, but something that it can't be a coincidence any longer. I mean, there's something to it. When Zay Jones is out there, Calvin Ridley flourishes. Because Calvin Ridley, the 4 times Zay Jones has played this year, I think 24 catches, 358 yards, a handful of touchdowns. I mean, clearly the Jaguar offense, surprisingly, I guess, when Zay Jones is there, they're just simply better.
You know, I do think Zay is a part of it, but I don't think he's the entire thing. Like, Zay's a really good player, but his being on the field does allow the Jaguars to do some things structurally and formationally that's tough for them to replace, because Jamal Agnew is a very different kind of player. Tim Jones is a little bit of a different kind of guy than Zay. And Elijah Cooks is an undrafted rookie who they're still trying to get up to the NFL speed. So, yeah, Zay does provide things on the field, but I know a lot of people are giving that credit there. Look, I think it's simpler than that. I really do. I think, and I went back and found it. It was after the Ravens game last year, and Doug said, you know, look, it was time for him to start thinking players and not plays, and that's how they were able to dig out of that hole. And he said similar comments down the stretch last season. And I think they got away from that this season. And this week, it finally looked like they kind of got back to that simplicity of it. You know what? We got a guy. We think Calvin Ridley's really good. Let's figure out ways to get him the ball. You see him take the end around. They threw a little bubble screen to him. Simple things to make sure that he's involved in getting touches. And scheme up your guy to go and put him in matchups you think he can win. And I think they did just simply that of, look, we know if the Jaguars are going to make a run, if that offense is going to be what they think it can be, what they need it to be, they need Calvin Ridley clicking on all cylinders. In order to do that, you got to start throwing balls his way. You can't just leave games and say, oh, well, the defense took him away and they gave him 2 targets. You can't do that. Not if you're going to get this guy rolling. And if you want to go and make some noise in the playoffs, you need that guy rolling. So I think they simplified it a little bit. They started thinking players. That, just my opinion, just going off something that Doug said in the past, but I think it's really that simple.
Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. You know, Jamal, in almost 30 years of Jaguar football, we've never seen a guy in the same game throw 2 touchdown passes and run for 2 touchdowns in the same game, which I was shocked when that stat came across. But Trevor Lawrence was the first Jaguar to do that. Probably his best game of the year, one of the best games of his career, which is interesting, Jamal, because he said last week that San Francisco might have been the worst game of his career. It was certainly a nice bounce-back performance for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, look, I mean, this team bounces back in a big way. Trevor doesn't wallow in those lows. He's good at bouncing back, too, and, you know, that little extra fire he probably got from that poor performance against San Francisco, he owned it. You know, he said it after the game that was probably the worst game of his career. So when you see a guy that has that perspective to say, look, I played poorly, and you know he's a prideful guy who's always been at the top of his game, number 1 overall draft pick, number 1 recruit in high school, national champion in college. He wants to play good football. He's that kind of guy. He wants to be out on the field leading them. You just had a feeling that he was a guy that was going to bounce back, and he's kind of figuring it out. And the good thing that they were able to do on Sunday is the offensive line actually gave him time. So that's big. And if he gets time to operate, we see what this guy can do. Earlier this year, the offensive line's just kind of been in shambles at times. So he's been running for his life.
Jamal, I thought it was big that they won at home, right? The narrative last week, 1-3 at home, 5-0 outside of Duval County. They needed to have a good performance at home, and not just a good performance. Quite frankly, it was a great performance, a dominating performance. And I really think that as well. I mean, if they would have won yesterday, 31-30, people would have still been excited, but it would have been like, well, they still didn't play great at home. I mean, they played damn near flawless yesterday at Everbank Stadium, which I think kills the narrative that they don't play well here. Your thoughts?
Look, I think you're right. I think they did get a big win. I think they needed to put on a show for the home crowd, one that they haven't really had a chance to do very often. They only had one other win at home so far this season. So I do think that was good. I think it was good that the Jacksonville home fans at the stadium got to see them put those points on the board, celebrate with it. Trevor running in for the pylon, Calvin Ridley catching a couple touchdowns. I think that is great and energizes the fan base. I think this team still has to show they can beat good teams, though. Because look, right now the Titans aren't a very good football team, so the Jaguars still have that question for me. It's like, can you beat a good team? Because as of right now, they lost to the Chiefs, they lost to the 49ers, and I mean, we can say, look, the Texans are playing good football. I'd call them a good team at this point. They lost to them too. Their best win of the year right now against the Bills, who are kind of still struggling to find their way, already fired their offensive coordinator this year. So, look, when they beat a good team at home, then that'll be even better.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I can't disagree with what you're saying. I made this comment last night. Buffalo is, I think, a good team. New Orleans, for what it's worth, is leading that division. Jacksonville beat them. And Indianapolis, it's interesting. They're 5-3 against teams not from Jacksonville, right? They're 5-5 because the Jaguars beat them twice. Now, clearly, the Colts, the Saints in particular, maybe the Bills are a little different, are not the upper tier of teams in the NFL. But, Jamal, you all of a sudden look at the AFC with no Deshaun Watson and no Joe Burrow. I mean, outside of Kansas City and probably Baltimore, and I guess maybe Miami, how many, quote, upper tier teams are left in the AFC right now?
Yeah, I mean, there's not many. And honestly, there's not much competition left on the Jaguars' schedule. If you look at it, their two biggest games the rest of the way, the Texans this week and then Baltimore. If they win both of those, I mean, we're talking about a 12-13 win Jaguars team, which is crazy. And, I mean, that should give them possibly the 1 seed, maybe at least the 2 seed if they can do that. So, because the rest of the way, I mean, with Deshaun Watson out of the way, no Joe Burrow on the schedule, the rest of their schedule should be relatively easy.
A lot more winnable games than maybe we thought. Look, I think Cincinnati's still good, but clearly they're not what they are with Burrow. Cleveland beat Pittsburgh, right? They're still good, but clearly they're not what they should be if Deshaun Watson was in there. And that gets us to Houston. And all week, Jamal, you know how social media is going to be from Jaguar Twitter. It's going to be all Houston all the time nationally. Everybody's going to talk about how great C.J. Stroud is, and he's a better player than Trevor Lawrence, how Houston beat the Jaguars by 20 earlier this year. It's a home game for the Texans. I think it's a great thing for Jacksonville because this team has proven they like to play with a chip on their shoulder. They like to play with their backs against the wall a little bit in a road environment, and the Texans are going to get massive love nationally all week, and I think Doug Peterson and this team absolutely love that.
Yeah, look, they don't want to go in and be the hero of the story. They want to be the villains. They like to go play party pooper, go in somebody else's house and beat them. I think you're right on with that, and that's the opportunity this week. And the words that have already been floating around is payback. They have not forgotten what happened the first time they played the Texans. I think that first game, just being in the locker room after and maybe even the leading up to that game, this team was kind of underestimating Houston and kind of starting to look past them, thinking they were just going to roll past Houston and keep on going. And this time, Houston's going to give the Jaguars' best shot. And this is a team that wants revenge, and they want it bad, and they know they got to have it. It's going to be an interesting game for sure because Houston's playing good football, and C.J. Stroud has proven at this point that he is a baller, and Carolina probably botched that pick. But, look, this is going to be a good game. This is a good Jaguars team. This is a good Houston team, and this is going to be a battle that we're talking about for years to come.
Final moments with Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. Jamal, I was talking to Coach Campo about this earlier. The fact that Jacksonville will be the first team that sees C.J. Stroud twice, right? It's one thing to watch film on him. It's one thing to think you know what's going on going into a game, but to actually play him. And Mike Caldwell and the Jaguars played him, and look, he played very well in Week 3, no doubt. But do you think there is something to see in the rookie quarterback for the second time?
Yes, I do. I honestly do. Because here's the thing. Early in the year, CJ wasn't throwing any interceptions. Now, all of a sudden, teams are starting to get in front of a couple of those passes. I think it's 3 interceptions in his last whatever, after he had that long string going into the league where he didn't have an interception early in the year. Teams are starting to figure out the book on the guy, and they do that. And this isn't saying anything that, CJ doesn't know. After you put out game tape, teams see what the offense wants to do. They see what CJ wants to do. And then defenses are going to take it away and make you do something different. There is an opportunity there that the Jaguars can go and possibly pick up on some of those tendencies from the first go-around because you know what Houston wants to do against you at this point. Now you got to take that away and see if CJ can adjust and pivot. There's an opportunity there for sure. That is not an understated or an overstated thing. Finding out guys' tendencies and seeing the tape on them, especially with rookies, that's why I kind of cautioned earlier when the conversations were just how great is CJ. Look, as teams see the book on this guy, the story might change. He's going to be a good quarterback, but is he this level? Is he, people are talking about around MVP and all kinds of things? Maybe he's having a fantastic year, but as teams figure out the offensive play calling it's there since the first year OC and a rookie quarterback, as defensive coordinators figured out, defensive coordinators in the NFL are smart. They're going to pick up on some tendencies and make this guy's life difficult. It's just what they do.
Jamal, as we wrap up, look, I've been wrong a lot more than I've been right, but far be it for me to not pat myself on the back on the rare occasion that I am right. I thought San Francisco was going to beat Jacksonville last week. It happened. I thought Jacksonville offensively was going to have their best game in over a month yesterday against Tennessee, and it happened. I'm never going to be considered ultra-positive Jaguar guy. I get a lot of grief from Jaguar fans about that. I'm never sunshine and rainbows. And I know it's early in the week, but I think Jacksonville is going to beat Houston, and I think they're going to beat them pretty good on Sunday. I got a really positive feeling about the Jaguars heading into this game. What's your opinion?
Look, hey, if you call that, I'm coming to you for some lottery numbers. Look, I'm with you. Like I mentioned earlier, Evan Ingram mentioned it after the game. This team's at their best when their back's against the wall, and this is essentially a playoff game for this team. If they lose this game, their chances of winning the division shrink drastically because Houston could easily run the table the rest of the way. So they have to win this football game. And if you got to win, you want to have a veteran coach on your side who's been there and done it. Nothing against D'Amico Ryans. Think he's going to be fantastic. Looks like you'll have a good career in Houston. Give me Doug Peterson in that bet. If you got to win, you got to win. Give me the veteran team. Houston's not the veteran team. Give me the Jaguars. They've been there. They've done that. They've been together for a little bit. I think the Jaguars are going to roll in this game. I think the experience pays off. They've had their backs against the wall. This team has high expectations, and they know that now those expectations mean they have to go through Houston. So I expect it. Like I said, I think the Texans are going to get the Jags' best shot, and ultimately I expect it to be too much for them. I do not think the Jaguars are going to take this game lightly at all. The only thing that gives me some pause is that for whatever reason, that San Francisco scheme of defense, whatever you want to call it, has given this Jaguars offense some trouble. You look at it against San Francisco, you look at it against the Jets last year, and you look at what happened against Houston earlier this year. For whatever reason, that Jags offense against that style of defense has struggled. And the question is, can they figure out what's slowing it down and take care of it in a week?
It's a good point, although the good thing, I guess, for Jacksonville is you won't have Fred Warner or Bosa or Chase Young or any of those guys in a Texas.
Well, that didn't matter the first time.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. But you know what, though? Back to that first game, that thing was 17-10, right? And Jacksonville had a lot of momentum. They just scored. And then you had the 87-yard kickoff return by the 260-pound fullback. And that, you want to talk about the air out of the balloon. The air came out of the balloon, Jamal, after that. The game was over at that point, even though I think Jacksonville scored again with Christian Kirk. So assuming something crazy doesn't happen again, I just think the Jaguars are in a very good standing going into Sunday. Quickly, tell us about Teal the Show, you and Frank Frangie, Mondays and Fridays, right, on Channel 4?
That's right. Yep. Me and Frank sit down every Monday and Friday night at 11:20 on Channel 4. We go through everything that's been said throughout the locker room and what you need to know before the game on the weekend. Come hang out with us. It's typically a pretty fun time as we try and get you caught up with everything you need to know before Sunday's game.
Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4, certainly one of our guys here on 1010XL. Jamal, happy Thanksgiving, my friend. I'll talk to you later in the week.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for having me on.
1010XL brings you the orange and blue.
Caught it! Touchdown! Gators!
The Gators chomp the chop in the swamp. Florida State, Saturday at 7 on Jacksonville's home of Florida Gators football. 1010XL.
Hey Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Winter in Jacksonville is mild, but you still want your furnace or heat pump at its best.
Imagine a cold home when your heater isn't up to the task. Don't be left in the cold.
Call Duck Duck Air Conditioning, your go-to mechanical contractor for top-notch HVAC services across Northeast Florida.
Let us keep you warm and cozy. Contact Duck Duck Air Conditioning at 904-862-6769.
Duck Duck Air Conditioning. Your comfort is our priority. 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckac.com.
Elevate your driving experience with Osteen Volvo Cars of Jacksonville. The Osteen Volvo team is a key piece of our community, and when it comes to cars, excellence is non-negotiable. Visit Osteen Volvo on Phillips Highway, online at osteenvolvo.com.
Men, are you suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE? The medical providers at Prime Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pain or surgery. 98% of men see instant results on their first office visit. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Men are even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
But that's not all. For a limited time only, call Prime Men's Medical Center now, and your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 904-664-8217. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL FM, Jacksonville Beach.
Mystic Cornhole Company builds the best high-quality custom boards right here in Jax. Perfect for weddings, tailgating, your business, a day at the beach, and a great gift idea for you-know-who. See their designs at mysticcornholecompany.com.
The IRS has just received $80 billion in funding to hire additional agents for aggressive collections enforcement. If you owe the IRS, now is the time to take action before the IRS comes after you or your business. There's no time to waste. Call J. David Tax Law, a firm right here in Jacksonville, for a no-cost consultation at 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777. Or visit jdavidtaxlaw.com. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. Want even more excitement on game day? Then test your skills at Prize Picks, the best way to win big on fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick their projection for a wide variety of statistics, and place your entry. Simple. You can turn $10 into $250 just like that. I've got Kevin Durant scoring less than 31.5 points against San Antonio and Tua Tagovailoa passing for less than 286.5 yards against Kansas City. Now listen to this. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy, keeping you in the game even if one of your players goes down. Sweat it out, watch your entries in real time, and continue the fun by making picks on second half and fourth quarter stats. Take your game day experience to the next level with PrizePicks. And right now, when you go to prizepicks.com/1010XL and use the promo code 1010XL, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100. That's right, $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Does your home or building need painting? For over 20 years, Performance Painting has had the privilege of preserving many of Jacksonville's most prominent buildings. That said, we feel like we're just getting started. I'm Jason Parker, and our team thrives on preparing, protecting, and preserving the homes, businesses, and public buildings that make up our local landscape. Contact us today to put our years of experience to work for you. Performance Painting, prepare, protect, preserve.